Hi everybody, this is Ginger here in Ginger's Chat Show, and it's Wednesday, March 15th. And the old saying goes, beware the Ides of March, which is the 15th. Um, I still keep this action needed thing that keeps popping up here. I don't know if it's my webcam that's doing that, or it's Facebook itself. I don't know why it's doing that. It's pretty annoying. Anyway, it's Wednesday, it's hump day, and I hope to see you guys here soon. I need more viewers. And I need, hey Dusty! How are you doing in the snow situation? You poor kid. Oh, California's really getting it too in the water department. They got so much water now that it's an overkill, but after having that drought, I think their drought's pretty much over now. If other groups or other things say no, the drought's not over yet, and I go, how can it not be not over when they had tons of snow, tons of rain, and things are flooding out? Now, how can you say the drought's not over? It is over. Okay. Anytime you have large amounts of water, the drought's over. That's my view on this. Oh, wow. Well, when I lived up in Alaska, we had that much. We had a blizzard hit in the February of '59. It was just about 1 year before we moved from Alaska back to Tacoma, or back to McCord, Tacoma area. And that's a lot of snow. Now I remember Dad having to dig out. He had to dig a tunnel from the front. The snow would clear up to the front porch, clear up to where there's a stair step that goes. It's a step up the part quarters. You go up the steps, and there's there's the living room. There's the kitchen. Snow went way up there, and it blocked the windows, basement windows. You couldn't see out. It was dark down there in the basement. So Dad had the lights on all the time, so we could see where we're going. And of course, luckily for us, we had a wood stove down there, so that kept us warm. And Mom cooked on the wood stove because there was no electricity. We closed the door to upstairs to keep it warm and everything, but unfortunately some of the pipes didn't survive. Water pipes. The only pipe that broke was in the kitchen and not up in the bathrooms. So they were lucky there. But Dad was able to quickly stop the leak and everything. So he was pretty handy with that. So anyway, yeah, a lot of snow, a lot of rain. Both sides of the U.S. is getting hit. Midwest is getting hit by a blizzard. I do hope spring comes quickly. I really do. Some parts of the country is, some parts is not. Depends on the jet stream. Okay. Here, mostly cloudy here, and it's 47 degrees, so it's not too bad. So we're okay for now. Knock on wood. Okay, now on to other things. I got a number of things that I'll be discussing. People can make their yeah, yeah. When I lived on our farm, on my parents' farm in South Yopia, Yeah, it went from, well, the creek that ran through the property didn't flood that all that much because we kept it pretty clear. It didn't clog up or anything. We kept it pretty much dredged and kept it clear. And it goes down, the water will go down into a, well, it's kind of an underground cave, and there's a river underneath, way underneath. There's a river down there. And so the water would drain down there. And so we didn't really have flooding issues as much, but we did have mud issues, yes. Especially if you live on dead pan clay. That's where the water doesn't really seep down very far. So that makes it kind of tough, you know. You don't really have good natural drainage per se. So anyway, back to my thing. We need to push back and solve problems now. We need to shove aside the GOP. All they know is complain. They complain. They don't offer any smart ideas. All they do is bitch about things. Well, I think they could better use their energy by start putting their head together and start solving the problems that need to be solved and stop being blind to the problems. And that's part of that's their issue. They're being blind. They're being stupid, and they're being purposely ignorant of the problems that occur. Okay? And some of these problems usually they're intertwined and sometimes they overlap one another. So they could be solved pretty much simultaneously. Yeah, they have no platform, no solutions whatsoever. So I think that's why a lot of people now are a lot of people now are leaving the Republican Party and going independent or going Democratic. And I think now there needs to be an independent, U.S. independent party taking GOP's place and start working together to solve the problems and issues. And let some of the other parties in there. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a two-party system. It could be like similar to Great Britain, okay? They made it work, how they're set up. They made it work, especially in the House side. Not so much the House of Lords is set up differently, but on their House side, where it's the people, what they call the Commons, House of Commons, for people, regular people like you and me and them, they put out and enforce the issues and everything else. And of course the House of Lords have to approve it too. Because it affects everybody. Any kind of law they make it affects everybody in Great Britain. Well, it should apply here too. Any laws that we make here have to apply to everybody. And nobody's above the law. Nobody's exempt. And same way with the Congress. Congress badly needs to be overhauled as far as their perks go. Some changes really need to be made. Such as the lobbying issue, and lobbyists should not be allowed to give money to senators nor the House of Representatives. They should not be giving them money, lobbyist money. No, that's considered a bribe, and that should not be happening. No insider trading. They are both while they're working for the government, working for the people, they should not be allowed to dabble in the stock market. They need to stay away from it and concentrate on solving other problems and issues. Um, Also, I think the ethics committee should have a little bit more teeth too. And that. Um, the other major thing that we need to work on is revamping the tax code. Uh, I think now, see, back in the 1950s, after World War II, from 1946 on through 1950s, things started getting back to normal. Jobs started coming back. People are getting paid better. People were working hard but making good money. What they should have done was keep the tax. Well, I'd rather have no allowance for donations ever, Dusty. They should lose that incentive. And yes, they need to stop manipulating. What they're doing when they're manipulating the politicians. They're crowding you and me out from having a say, or say, "Hey, we got a problem in our district, and can you please help us fix this problem?" But the corporations keep nudging us aside, keep running us over, and now allowing us to keep contact with contact with our um, senators and our reps. Now, I can easily contact my senator and rep. She does not allow lobbyists coming in, and she does not take donations. The only time she ever takes donations if she's planning to run again. Long as she does a good job, that's great. You know, long as she could do it. Um, it's when you have senators and representatives that just are in there for the money and not for doing public service. Uh, and people like McConnell, when he's getting up in years, when they get up to their 80s and everything else, they should retire. Just get out of it and retire and let the younger generation take over. Okay. Um, and there should be no lobbying. There should be the only lobbyists that are allowed in there are people like you and me. We should be in front in line all the time. Yeah, and should have term limits on them too. Yeah, because there's term limits on the president, right? So there should be term limits on them. Also, to avoid voter burnout, which at times we keep experiencing, because you already voted in a new president, right? Then you have the term limit. You have the midterms. Then you have to vote again for a new president in between the 4 years. Well, you know what? Get rid of the midterms and put both the House and the Senate on 4-year schedule like the president, beyond the president's schedule. Every 4 years, both the executive and legislative branch are voted in out. Right. 2 years maximum, or, well, depend. The only thing about that, Dusty, is how long it takes to get the problems, solving the problems implemented. How long that takes. Go through the cycles to the country and everything else. How quick can that be solved? Okay. I don't know if I could give you an example. But yes, they should also, when they leave office, they should not get pension, because it's a public service that they're supposed to be doing. It's a pension. And the only one that deserves a pension is the President of the United States, President and Vice President. Those are the only two that deserve the pension, not Congress. And their perks need to be uh, cut so far back, it's not even funny. Even their so-called Cadillac medical um, plans and everything else, they should be on the same plans we are. In other words, they work for us, and they should not have better health care than us. We should have better health care than them. People say, well, why are you being so harsh on them? Because they've been running roughshod over the American people for so many years. And I'm just really sick and tired of them not listening to their constituents. They know who they are, okay? There's some senators and representatives listen to their people and really work for the constituents. Look at AOC. She works for her constituents up in New York. There's a couple of other senators, and there's one other rep that works for Hakeem Jeffries. He works for his constituents in New York as well. And I think now the GOP needs to set aside or move aside and let the Independence Party come and play. Yeah, they need to pay for the private schools too. Uh, there was one, well, for example, President Obama, he did not, this girl did not get free private school. They paid for the tuition for the girls through a 10 in Washington, D.C. They paid for that tuition. And they said, well, we can make it free. And they go, no, we want to pay into it so you guys could use the money to do improvements on the school grounds and services and things like that. I would have to look into that. I'm not really sure about all that. You know, it's you gotta be careful. You don't want to judge the book by its cover either. Um, but also they need to go after senators and reps. Well, it is ridiculous. I agree. It is ridiculous. It's stupid. And I think that people that really need to get things for free is you and me. You know, we worked hard all our lives and we deserve to have some perks with that. We really do. Okay. As I said, oh, good, my time's going fast. Now, the tax codes, we need to overturn, do a major overhaul of tax codes. The idea is this: put the corporations, make them pay 67% of income, but not be allowed, repeat, not be allowed to lay off employees as an excuse. Employees are their front line. They're the ones that keep things going. They're the ones that help bring money in and really upgrade their profit sharing with their employees. And allow unions in there too. But there have to be really good, excellent unions, not the shoddy unions. Okay? There are some unions that just don't do their jobs, and all they do is take the dues money, but they don't help their members when the members ask for help. So there has to be some kind of balance in there. But for tax code, 67% for corporations, 60% for millionaires and 55% for, or 60% for billionaires and 55% for millionaires, and the rest of us down below pay about 5%. And those that are over 66 or in their 60s should be tax exempt. Because we already paid into it a number of times and we're no longer working. Also, on the business side, corporations 67%, but like cottage industries or online small business, that should be tax-free. Okay? Because they're not paying B&O tax, the online and cottage industries. They're not paying B&O. And many of them on cottage industries, those that have business from home, is they don't pay B&O because it's coming out of their home. It's not a commercial property. Okay? So there's a big revamp that we need to do. We need to cut down to 2 tax brackets. One for business and one for civilian, private person, private people. 2 tax brackets, that's it. You shouldn't have 7 or 8 or 9 tax brackets. No, you need to cut it back down to 2. 2. And revamp some things. And also Congress needs to keep their diddly little fingers out of Social Security. It doesn't belong to them since they are not paying into it. Okay? You and I paid into it. It's our money. It's not theirs. And where the GOP get this idea that saying it's entitled, no, it's not entitled. It's put there for a reason. And so, you know, I don't know where, like I said, I don't know where these guys think it's entitled. It's not. I don't think they understand. I don't think they worked in the real working world. I think that's part of their problem. Now, in the thing in space exploration, I gotta move along here. Space exploration, which is now in full swing. Crew 6 already gone up last Sunday. They are now at the International Space Station. Crew 5 came home. Came home on Tuesday, I think it is. Tuesday or Wednesday, or today's Wednesday. They came home on Tuesday, Crew 5. They came home yesterday or Monday. They came home on Monday, Crew 5. So they're back home and they're recuperating from being up in space for 6 months. The Artemis rocket, which is by the United Launch Agency, which is part of NASA, partnered with NASA, they're moving ahead and solving problems. They just debuted the brand new spacesuit, which is kind of iconic big spacesuit, and it's similar. Sorry. Anyway, the suit is similar to the Apollo mission suits. Very similar. But it has more enhancement and it's less bulkier, lighter, and they're also like making their space boots a lot more insulated so their feet are protected from the cold. And that's what during the Apollo 11 moon landings, Mr. Armstrong, Neil Armstrong says, the biggest problem was that your feet get cold real easy. And it's not a good idea to have cold feet because you can't feel anything. And you can also get frostbite too. So anyway, they're making all kinds of strides on this and trying to make things better for everybody. Because with all this technology that's being created and worked on, especially by the younger generation, I'm proud of those kids. They're doing what they're wanting to do. So we need to encourage that. And of course, SpaceX is doing its thing on the doing contractual services such as sending up our astronauts, sending up supplies, and the International Space Station is going to be kept going until 2030. Uh, then after 2030, it will be retired. By then, a brand new space station will be up and in place up there. And then they could retire the International Space Station. In other words, put it into orbit. Clear everything out, put it into orbit, and just let it burn up. Because that station's good. It's been there about 20 plus years. It's still a strong station, but it's getting to the point where it's getting really kind of old. So, my last thing here, he who shall not be named, you know who he is, Trump. That's my nickname for him. His indictment's very, very close. Michael Cohen, who just submitted his testimony to the DOJ and to the grand jury, and including the Washington, D.C. grand jury, on the federal level. He submitted his testimony to them, and many of the other former people of Trump that worked for him, they're putting in their testimony too, because he broke a lot of laws, and he should be in prison for it. They need to slap him so hard it's not even funny. And then when they do put him in prison, I hope they put him in solitary and he's never heard from again. You know? I'm glad to see his so-called rallies are dwindling. They're getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and pretty soon he'll be forced to cancel his rallies. And he's not going to be able to campaign at all. He said he's going to Iowa for the campaign. Well, it's still too early yet, because they normally start, in July? Let's see. Dusty, don't they normally start announcing their campaign for president like around July or August time frame, September time frame in there? That's what I remember anyway. So, and President Biden hadn't decided whether he's going to run. He hadn't made a decision on that. Okay, it is. Okay. Good, my memory was correct. What a world we live in. Yeah, okay. All right, well, it's just about time for me to sign off. I will post this video on my YouTube channel. I need more viewers. I need people to share. And to those that are new or checking things out, this is my opinion only. And if they don't agree with it, that's fine. But they don't need to be haters either. You know, just that type of thing. So, you know, we gotta do what we gotta do, right? Alright, I will see you later on Friday. And it's good, by the way, it's good to see John again. He was on last night. So, and I will see you guys on Friday. Okay? Thank you. Actually, it's more of a chat than a rant, but yeah. You too, Dorothy. Good seeing you. Love you guys. Be sure to insist, persist, and push back. Okay? Love you. Bye-bye.